The following is a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.
Hello everyone, this is Women's Grandmaster Sabina Foisor, and I'm joined by
National Master Julian Proleiko.
Great to have you here, Julian.
Thanks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results from last night for the St. Louis Super Swiss. Last night, Christopher Yu and Nicholas Theodorou, both on 4 points, made a draw on board 1. Looks like there were draws on boards, on all the top boards, 1 through 5. And the only decisive result was Brian Escalante had an upset against Aram Hakobyan on board number 6. And yeah, not a lot of decisive results in this in the round from last night.
That's right, a lot of draws last night, but let's remind everyone. Let's check out the standings after yesterday's round. So before the round, when we went offline yesterday with Doug, we saw Christopher Yu and Nicholas Theodorou getting, that pole position, and they maintained that pole position. They're still sharing first place with 4.5 points. Swiercz, Bruzon, Yasser, Quesada, Pairings, Brendan Jacobson, Harshit Raja and Brian Escalante are sharing third, and then lots of strong grandmasters have 3.5 points. And we have a second page for the standings, I believe. We don't have.
Yeah. So the tournament format is a 9-round Swiss tournament with the time control being 90 minutes with a 30-second increment. The round times are at 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. Central Time.
And if you guys forgot about it, let's remind you what the schedule for this tournament was. One more day after today. That's kind of sad and happy maybe for some people in the same time. Today, Julian and I are going to do commentary for round 7. We might check out some of the games for round 6. Just stand by on that. But the round started at 11 a.m. The players have another round 8, that starts at 5 p.m. That's not going to be broadcasted here in the studio. However, you can still follow the games live on the chess. And tomorrow will be the last and final round. That will start at 11 a.m. And we will be definitely doing commentary for that and looking forward to see who the winners of this event are going to be. Don't forget to join us on our social media, follow St. Louis Chess Club, and if you want to make any tweets, you can use the hashtag STLSuperSwiss. You can check out the results for this tournament as well as others on uschesschamps.com. And welcome everyone who's following our live stream both on YouTube and Twitch. Without further ado, I think we should... Okay, let's check out some of the games that were played yesterday in round 6. We're still having some technical difficulties with bringing up round 7, so we don't want to keep you waiting. So I'll pull up some of the games from yesterday's round that we didn't get the chance to look. So we talked about Christopher Yu playing against Nicholas Theodorou. Did you get the chance to look at the games at all?
No, I haven't checked out any of the games.
All right, so it's going to be brand new commentary until we're waiting on the round to get started. Okay, so let's see. So what... I feel that Christopher Yu was playing for a win in this game. The game did last for quite some time. They went for a g3... Was it King's Near? We actually have seen... Yeah, we have seen this kind of system in the previous rounds. Thoughts on this opening, Julian?
I don't have a lot of experience in these types of positions. I guess I've played this more with black than with white, but...
It's quite a solid approach, actually. For white, you are anticipating, d6, and suddenly you meet c6, d5. And I was showing the viewers yesterday that a lot of people were wondering, why isn't white playing d5, Because, wait, there's the opportunity to stop black from going there, but obviously that's not really working because you are going to lose a pawn with this line. Anyhow, showing them that's a cool famous trap that you can't fall for because there's bishop takes c3. Everyone was kind of excited about it, so now don't go for d5. You should be mindful about pushing your pawns forward too soon.
Yeah, I would think even positionally, this isn't a good idea. Just the pawn on d5 will be exposed later. There's this line in the King's Indian where they do this, or sorry, not in the King's Indian, but like this anti-Grunfeld line. After g6, they go d5 to stop black from going d5, and that isn't considered to be anything very special for white anyway.
So you mean here?
Yeah, so instead of knight of 3, or...
Depends on the move order,
yeah, so
I
if
guess.
you go c4, g6, people play d5 here, and this isn't considered to be very good either.
Right, because you're pushing the pawn forward too soon, and then you don't have sufficient pieces to keep it protected and keep it there in the center. So, yeah, I mean, there are principles for a reason, and you have to kind of follow them in a way. There might be players that are able to get by without following all the principles, but they usually get punished. So, you gotta be mindful of specific things. But it looks like. I like to call this the Schlechter, but yesterday Dag was telling me that no, we just call it the Grunfeld. I have my way of calling openings, so if you're going to hear me say something, feel free to let me know what it is, if it has a different name, because, I just have my own names, which can be a good or bad thing, I don't know.
Yeah.
So b3 was played, d takes c4. Actually, this is interesting that black thought of capturing immediately. What are your thoughts about that move? Would you do that directly?
It's a little weird to me. I always thought the c6 d5 line was considered to be like pretty solid, and like DC is trying to imbalance the position, which seems counterproductive to the line that you're playing. But I mean, Theodorou is obviously a really good player, so I'm sure he knew the position.
I'm sure he had. Yeah, I agree. He had something prepared here, but. It seems like he decided to take advantage of the fact that white pushed that pawn too soon, and now he went for c5, kind of following the Grunfeld ideas of attacking this center fast and opening up the bishop. But that was really interesting that, he has to play. He actually does not necessarily have to play c6. He could technically castle. After bishop g2, he could play d5, but maybe in these situations, white could take, right? Yeah,
so this is the line that I thought that people considered to be like sharper against the g3 system. Like most people who want to be solid go c6, d5, try to play the symmetrical position, whereas like people play this to be like sharp. So it's interesting that he like mixed the two ideas.
Yeah. And sometimes it works. Sometimes you have to take advantage of every single move your opponent does something out of the ordinary, and try to see the differences between something that you're familiar with and something that you're not. And okay, so he's attacked the center fast, and now white has remained with a weakness over there. Are we by any chance getting the new rounds or still not?
Nope, still.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I know a lot of people are expecting round 7, but we don't want to keep you waiting. So we'll go over some of these games and see some interesting things that happen. So queen d6. I wonder if this is a line that a lot of people play. Seems like it is
all
according
theory.
to the database. Yeah. Well, this is quite interesting. I don't know if I would feel comfortable with white to play with this pawn structure, because it could be easy for black to put pressure, but maybe I'm just seeing ghosts or something, because with a knight in d4, it's difficult to envision a bishop going to e6 to put pressure. And then how is this knight going to get to put pressure? Because if you take it out in c6, which he did, I was about to say, we're going to take immediately. And now this is not a a pawn on a semi-open file anymore, so it's going to be more difficult for black to put pressure. Seems pretty balanced to me, this position.
Yeah, seems pretty equal.
So they both kind of played it safe in a way, trying to secure their position in the standings potentially, or let's see. So rook d8. And, okay, yeah. Nobody's going to trade. This is very important to mention. Nobody wants to trade because when you trade, you're helping the other side improve their pawn structure. And then the pawn that will remain on the file will remain weak. Oh, great. Every single time I say something, I feel like today is one of those days where I say something and it's going to happen. That does not look very good on me. Okay, and knight here. Does it force white to take in b6?
I don't know why it would. Like my first, oh yeah,
Because
f2
of that.
standing. Yeah. No, then yeah,
It does.
for sure.
It does force white. This idea with bishop d4 would not work, so...
Yeah, so queen
Yeah.
b6 is forced. It's interesting.
It's kind of... Okay, this is a good move. So I wonder if this was necessary from white to play. Because this pawn being weak, it does... I wouldn't want to do that. Do you have any other ideas of what we could do, however?
I can't
Rook
say
c1?
that I have like a really strong intuition for this type of position, but yeah, I think the reasoning behind knight f3 is just like if you do force this trade like a b6, maybe eventually I'll play bishop g7, king g7, and knight d4, and c6 will be weak.
That seems to have happened after the trade in b6, knight d4 was played. I mean, I really don't like the pawn structure, but if you somehow manage to get some initiative here in a way, or maybe get the bishop pair, which he kind of did.
Yeah, actually, I'm curious why he didn't play bishop takes g7 first.
Instead of knight d4?
I guess knight c3 is like a big problem. Is that true?
When though?
Like knight d4, knight c3 is what he was afraid of, maybe?
Do we need to... Well...
Yeah, like takes and then rook e1, rook d2. Probably black is happy with that. Okay, that's why.
We need to take, yeah. Rook e1?
And then rook d2. Probably black is happy about this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this seems a little bit unpleasant. And you kind of have to make that decision. You cannot just play e3 because your rook is hanging, and you can't just make this move, of course, because of the small tactic here. So that seems forcing, totally forcing. So I guess you didn't want to allow black to get any activity. Knight d4 just stops that, but you do remain pinned, but now black cannot just move the bishop because the knight is hanging, and you don't have knight c3 for one more moment. And I like that he captured in b2 here. So the game just, I think both players just played kind of the best moves, and the position was just balanced when they agreed on a draw. If we take here instead, how would white continue?
Probably bishop g7 is forced.
And now we still have this knight c3 idea, so I wonder, is rook d3 a thing?
I wonder like how forcing we can be. Like, can we play bishop takes e4, rook takes d8, and rook b1? Does that lead to anything for us?
And now what did you say?
Rook takes d8, and then rook b1.
You want to get into this endgame. This is interesting.
I'm not totally sure.
I would say I like black here. I was maybe go king f1 first. If I were you, I wouldn't give that pawn up. Because if you take in b6...
You want to take e2, I guess.
I was going to, although you might be able to have this in-between move, but I don't think it helps you much because I have, and you wouldn't want to put your rook in a4. That would be very unpleasant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure who's playing for what in this 4e4 endgame. Like, after rook takes c6.
Yeah. It is kind of strange. It's kind of a strange setup because in a way you feel that black has more pawns. And he does have more pawns on the king side, but in the same time he's missing the g pawn, so it might not be so easy for them to... so say this position would arise. What is the evaluation of this?
Probably, it's like every Rickin game, just a draw.
It could be just a draw. It could be just a draw. I mean, it's nice to have the boss pawn further, but it is definitely very tricky. I guess the players didn't really want to get into those kind of complications. Here, they got into an opposite color bishop with rooks on the board, but this is quite simple. And they agreed on a draw, a move later.
Seems like a pretty well played game by both sides.
Yeah, I agree. I think they were both trying to play for a win, actually. When you see the game, although I know it did end up seeing in the end that a lot of pieces got traded off and they went for a draw, I think still there was quite some play, and there were a lot of calculations that required, a lot of variations that required calculation, because there were lots of trades that were possible. So you had to kind of evaluate what types of endgames you wanted to go into. And some of the games don't have the result yet, but I think this game, we remember, it did end in a draw between Raja Harshit and Darius Swiercz. We're still waiting on round 7 to be uploaded. Actually, let's go for a win. Let's show everyone a win as we're waiting. I know there were a couple of games that were quite interesting, actually.
There was an upset, right, between Brian Escalante, Arm, Hakobyan, and Brian Escalante. Yeah,
let's see how this game was played, because this brought Brian Escalante into the shared third place after he won this game against Aram Hakobyan, if I remember correctly, the standings. And it was finally a King's Indian kind of, but not quite, because white hasn't played c4 yet, so I can still change their mind whether they want to play c4 or not. So, but black has committed with d6 compared to what we've seen in the previous game. In these positions, depending on how you choose your move order, black can also go d5 and kind of transpose to the previous line that we've seen, some kind of Grunfeld. But once you commit to d6, you're probably going to go for the King's Indian. I mean, that's clear. But c4, although, the main thing, I actually have seen a lot of people going for b3, bishop b2 first, or sometimes their ideas even with b4. It's a little bit crazy, maybe not specifically right now. You should be mindful when you push that pawn, because you can't allow a5 if you push too soon.
But white's choice is very strange. So what is rook e1 all about?
I think he probably wanted to transpose to some Pirk to e4 and just get e4 in. Now that you've committed to playing d6, not d5, white wants to just say, I'm going to transpose to e4. And black is like, you know what? I've changed my mind. I don't think how your rook in e1 is going to be helpful in these positions. So there, d5, no more e4s.
So play the position down a tempo, but arguably rook e1 isn't like a very important move.
Right, and in some situations, like we've seen in the previous game, the rook was in d1 indeed, but this pawn is not going anywhere anytime soon, and you typically want to put your rooks on open files, or those that you're sure can get open, and here it doesn't. And f2 will be weak. So he transposed to, he could have transposed to the previous game we've seen, but Hakobyan might have been thinking about winning this game, so he went for c3. This is quite interesting. This is quite an interesting setup, because it's kind of a cole, but not really a cole system, because you've developed the bishop in g2 instead of d3, and it's the King's Indian setup, so
So when I see c3, I'm thinking he wants to play against the bishop on g7, but I'm curious what his intention is against c5. Like, does he want to take the pawn? Because
yes, he probably does. So he's going to play maybe reversed Catalan or reversed
Yeah, it's like a reverse symmetrical Grunfeld of some sort.
Grunfeld, yeah.
But it's like the rook's on e1.
It can help sometimes because the black does play e5 in some of the Grunfeld ideas, I think. So it depends. Let's see how the game went. So a5 was played first. Interesting. Bishop f4 now c5.
What is a5 all about?
I've seen people trying to get a little bit more space on the queen side and either playing against potentially maybe b3, and so he's trying to kind of mess up this chain of pawns since, as you said, white is going to play against this bishop. I've seen people do that a lot, but...
yeah, I see good players play this a5 all the time, and I just don't get it. So.
In some situations, it turns out being helpful. I think as long as you don't mess up too badly the b5 square, if this does not become a great outpost for white in a way, I think this move will be helpful at some point in an endgame. It turns out being helpful. I've seen it being played in the Stonewall as well, when black gets this kind of setup with, c6, c6, f5, of course, and then sometimes they do that to get a little bit more space and get their bishop out through a6. So they want that pawn push to make sure that in some situations that you can actually trade the bishop. But okay, here that's not the case. So let's see how that move was helpful. I think you can only find out at the end, At the beginning, you're just like, what? What has been going on? And then in the end, it just helped. All right, it seems like we have round 7, so maybe we can just finish this game fast, see how he won, and then we'll get you guys back to round 7, which is going to be very exciting because we're approaching the end. Oh, look at that. So he did get this. Okay, but this position is... Who's better here? I don't know anymore. There's
really
an extra pawn for white, but black is the bishop pair, and okay, he's got his pawn back. This pawn is hanging. This pawn is hanging as well. Okay, so they traded off, and it's not too bad. It is not too bad. So there must have been a moment in this game where Hakobyan blundered, probably, or else how would he lose? This rook looks a little bit trapped.
Yeah, rook on c4 doesn't look too hot right now.
Yeah, he's not... I don't know if his pieces are really very well coordinated. So black forced the trade, and now black's pieces are definitely better placed.
Yeah, now it just looks like black has the 2 bishops for not a lot of compensation.
Yeah, a small advantage, and probably he was able to somehow outplay his opponent. There must... Ooh.
2 bishops just won
okay,
won a
just
pawn.
won a pawn, and now, wait, we're getting it back.
No.
We're getting it back. Takes, still equal, but there's rook c1, rook a1, and that pawn is lost. So at the end of the calculation, you just end up a pawn down, and I guess you won this endgame.
Which is impressive in and of itself.
Endgame, extra pawn. Listen, that's all you need sometimes to be able to win. But guys, if you want to check out the games, they're all on Lichess. And now we got round 7, so I suggest we just go into that. For just one moment, I'm going to have to change the scene, so hopefully it's not going to mess up anything. Maybe we can pull in the standings once again as I'm changing the scene so that... What am I saying? The pairings? Let's look at the pairings for round 7. Get you guys up to speed with that.
So on board 1 is Lazaro Bruzon against Christopher Yu. 4 points versus 4.5 points. Definitely a game that will affect the tournament in a major way. Nicholas Theodorou versus Brendan Jacobson. I have a feeling that both of these players are looking for blood. Theodorou and Jacobson, both very, very fighting players. So I predict a result on this board. Daria Swiercz against Yasser Quesada Perez, I believe, and Brian Escalante, which we just saw a game of, versus Raja Harshit. Those seem like the games of the leaders that we'll probably be checking out.
Yeah, we'll mostly be looking at those games, and I think we can get started unless we have. Do we have a second page? All right, here's the second page for round 7, so you guys can see all of the players. We have lost a few players along the way, but that's okay. That's okay. It's a very tough tournament, and I think you know, lots of lessons can be learned regardless of how you do in any tournament. And there's always, you know, a strong one coming after. Don't worry, Julian. So let's. I started talking about it, and then I realized that you did not do very well. So I just want you to know that I believe in you,
okay.
And I believe in you, and I know you're going to come back. So just don't give up. Okay, that's my quote that I always like to tell everyone. So
I'll try my best.
All right, good. Okay, so let's get into the first board. As you said, these first 2 games we're definitely going to spend a lot of time on, right?
Yeah.
Lazaro Bruzon against Christopher Yu and Theodorou Nicolas against Brendan Jacobson. I suggest we start with the first game.
Yeah.
They already made quite a number of moves. So we missed a lot of the opening. Catalan is Bruzon's choice, bishop b4 check. Okay. Christopher has played these kind of things before, and I think he's usually very good with his opening preparation.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out White's move order decision. So like when you play g3, bishop g2 in this order, because I play the Catalan with both colors, instead of starting with knight f3, bishop g2 is actually aimed at this bishop b4 check line, because after bishop g2, bishop b4, you have the ability here to play the move knight d2. And normally this would not be super critical because of d takes c4, but in this position, queen a4 check wins a piece.
Oh, because you don't have the knight in
on
f3. That's right, yeah. You like my idea of showing traps, so let's show this. We take, what's surprising is that actually there was a game that ended in a draw in this. That's crazy.
Probably that was user error if I had to guess.
Maybe. But okay, black gets 2 pawns for the piece, but it's definitely in a very uncomfortable position.
Not super impressive.
This is a very cool idea. Thanks for sharing that. Hopefully the audience has enjoyed it too. Yeah, so if you can of course play in this position knight f3, but then the same thing doesn't happen. Oops, sorry. Knight d2, because now
DC is possible. Queen f4, you have
knight c6 is perfectly fine. Black protects the pawn. Okay, the game goes on. Of course, there's nothing bad about it. You can still play this, but of course, trying to set up a trap for the opponent is always nice. I've been reading this book. I think it's called Swindler's Chess or something like that by Grandmaster David Smerdon. And he talks about those kind of setups, but it's usually in worse positions, but you know.
You can do it from better positions
too. You can do it, yeah, why not? You know, you gotta set up some traps, but set them up in a more normal way. Don't make it too obvious, because if you make it too obvious, then, you know, it's going to be an issue because your opponent will see it, and then, So knight f3, castle, queen c2 was played, c5. All right. So black, in a way, kind of restricts their bishop here in b4, but they still have the option to trade it. So until white castles, you're not worried that white is going to move the bishop and then have a3. But with this c5, you're weakening b5 square. I'm not the most familiar with this specific positions because I usually try to play with knight to d2. This is interesting that he's chosen to have the bishop there instead. But there's still theory, queen b6, e3.
Yeah, both of these players, one over 2600, the other not much below 2600, obviously very well prepared in their
their opening preparation, yeah. Pawn takes. So after castle, knight c6, I'm trying to catch up with the game since we've missed quite a lot of it at this point, unfortunately, but that's okay. Knight takes c6. Are we forced to make this move? I would not really want to make the move just yet, but usually I enjoy to play against an isolated pawn. But I think in this position, we might have to make the trade. Bishop c3 probably does not bring much to white.
Bishop
Because you
c3 is
can't
an interesting
capture.
move.
You
I
can
guess the
probably
point is
capture.
you want to play bc3.
Yeah, I do, but now I've created a weakness for myself too, so, and I don't have the dark square bishop to go bishop a3 anymore. I'd probably have to develop this knight here and bring it to play. Maybe I'll go c4, rook b1. I would feel a little bit more comfortable playing this position with white.
Yeah, me
but-
too. I would prefer to be white here over black.
But he chose to take in c6, which allows black to capture back with the pawn. So now we're dealing with hanging pawns. But they might not be so strong, and this is what Bruzon could be playing against and trying to put a lot of pressure on the c pawn. Rook c1, he goes for it immediately. And Christopher does not want to protect, so he goes rook b8 with the point that if you capture, which did not happen, but if you do capture, I think we'll take, hopefully, I'm right, takes, 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 rook takes. And who is better in this position?
Yeah, at this point, like
Then
black
I
has a weak pawn on d5, but he has an active rook on b2. I don't know. I don't know who I'd prefer playing. Maybe black, honestly. The pawn on, like, even if you lose the pawn on d5 for the bishop on g2, then
There's
it's-
bishop e6 and trying to go
Yeah.
for this maybe.
should be okay for black.
Yeah, I think this would be fine. And it's trading a little bit too many pieces. Maybe Bruzon is trying to keep a little bit more on the board and trying to... When you're playing with the white pieces, typically you're trying to keep more the pressure, whether you're the stronger player or not. I think typically they try to keep more pressure on the board and more pieces. So now you don't have the opportunity to take it, of course. You just give up the bishop pair for no reason. So black retreated queen d8. This is an interesting move here. What do you think about this move?
Well, probably this move is aimed directly against knight a4. I think in the previous position, knight a4 was white's idea.
Yes, of course. Knight a4.
Aiming at
then-
the c5 square and the c6 pawn, of course.
And then b3, after the bishops would eventually get traded, we might play b3 not to hang our pawn in b2. And then, yes, definitely we want to bring the knight to the c5 square. But obviously, that is still an option, isn't it?
Yeah.
He did not play it, but it's still an idea for white to bring the knight to c5. But usually, you know what they say, when a knight goes away from the control of the center, another one could come towards the center, which I don't think it works just yet.
Knight e4 is an interesting move, I guess. It does
Takes.
sacrifice some material.
It does?
In the previous position, yeah,
Oh, sorry.
you put knight a4. You were saying knight e4.
No,
Yeah.
I was saying that's an idea at some point for black. Not yet.
But
Or
even
is it
now, I mean,
interesting?
it could be interesting, right? Because you can't take on e4 twice in the current position because d2 is hanging. So.
Yeah. No, I was thinking takes, and then you will stay with a lot of weaknesses. Now
Yeah,
rook
rook
takes
b4.
Technically, queen takes c6. I think you have bishop d7, so that's not going to be a great idea. Maybe b3 first.
Yeah, but you have to be like super careful. Like here, you could imagine like bishop g4 to f3, and who has the initiative?
Yeah, this knight is on the rim right now. It's not really ideally placed there. I totally agree. And there's no rook d1 either, which would be another idea we'd have. So yeah, we do take this pawn, but maybe our king safety is going to be...
Yeah, like maybe you just
Something to
have
be scared of.
long-term compensation here.
It could
I don't
be.
know.
It could be. And Christopher had a really brilliant win the previous round against Mikhail Antipov. That was in round 5 yesterday morning. And he had this...
Oh
his
yeah, I
opponent's
remember. His
rook-
bishop was on f3 in that game too.
I think it was in I believe it was in h3 because it was...
Oh, no,
Yeah,
yeah,
in
that's
h3 I was restricting. There was a king in g1, a rook in h1. That was totally restricted.
Rook
Was-
g2, right?
Yeah. And then eventually that led to a rook endgame that he was able to convert without much trouble. It was definitely a very strong positional advantage that he had with some attacking ideas. So I really loved that game. I thought he played really, really good. Although at first I thought his position had, or his preparation might have had some problems, but he turned the game in his favor quite nicely. So if you guys didn't see that game, I highly recommend checking it out. It was Mikhail Antipov against Christopher Yu from round 5. Okay, so this is probably an interesting idea. I didn't realize it would be. I thought I was just saying some nice idea. Sometimes I just say it before I can think it through. What about this? And not giving up our bishop just yet, just taking. I believe
like
you have to recapture.
B3 or something.
We can't take just yet because of this. Oh, wait, can we?
Wait, we can, right? Yeah. Queen takes D5.
No, because there's bishop takes.
No, bishop E4.
And
I think we might be safe.
What is going? Do we trade or do we not trade? I don't know. Well, let's trade.
Yeah, Rook C7.
Okay, so who is better here? We don't know.
I mean, white's up a pawn, so
yeah, should
I
be
like
better.
white.
Should be better. Black doesn't have sufficient compensation. In this case, he does not have. Okay, fine, fine. So maybe that pawn is able to be captured. Do we have other moves in this position with black to try to keep the position? Okay, so I did play bishop here, and you took, wait. We have an in-between move that I forgot. This is what happens when you go on the line and you don't go back.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's inconvenient.
And then I take. So,
yeah, that does
okay,
work, yeah.
Okay, so, all right. Okay, we cannot take the pawn. Or, yeah, we cannot. So B3. But I definitely don't want to give up my bishop from G2. That would be very, very unpleasant, I'd say. So B3, and now...
now C6 is hanging for real.
Yeah.
So probably he should deal with that in some way. Maybe bishop D7. But this is, he chose something else in the game, right?
Yes,
like,
he did. I just thought this was interesting to try to get the knight there because it's quite a typical idea, but I guess he played knight e2 with a similar idea. So he's trying to attract maybe this pawn to go to c5. So he might want to play knight to d4 and attract that move eventually. Obviously, the knight here also has threats with knight c6 that's going to fork black. So black kind of had to trade, and now queen b6, b3, very natural. I mean, I would do that too.
Yeah,
right? I mean, it's kind of...
seems very normal.
but now you'll see this move eventually, there will be a4, because you are wondering what's going to happen to that move. You never see it in the beginning, like, I think... Okay, so bishop g4, and now he went back to c3. See, that's why I'm surprised about...
Very interesting.
He's going to go back to a4, I'm telling you, because that's an idea, and... Yeah, he just wanted probably to trade the bishops, but there must have been something after knight a4 that he didn't like. And now he's going back. I wonder if this was an option, but probably it wasn't going to do that much. Maybe we can...
Yeah.
Do we want to play c5? It's always so tricky, that question.
Yeah. I don't know, c5, rook d8, something.
Where does the knight go, actually? You still have to go back to e2. Because you want to usually put pressure on those pawns. So now suddenly, if you could play this move, of course you would be happy, but that move is not allowed, legally allowed at the moment. So you can bring the knight back towards a4, put some more pressure. But he chose knight c3, so he's going for this idea. And Christopher played queen b4 to pin the knight and restrict that move from happening, obviously. Now, because the queen is protected, you don't have a move like knight e4. So you have to come up with a way to... What about queen b2? Oh, okay, so here's the thing. Queen b2 looks nice, right? Everything looks good. You escape the pin and everything. But a4, and wait, I again spoke too soon. I was going to show this gorgeous idea, and then I saw this. What do you think?
Yeah.
Who is better now?
Well,
I was so excited about my queen b2. It's actually very typical, actually. These kinds of moves, you play them in the Nimzo Indian quite often with white when you get rid of that bishop, or sometimes the bishop goes to c3 and you have these ideas and you have more space.
So there could be like a very funny line where like, I don't know, black plays like rook e8 or something. And then you're like, knight a4, I'm really smart because queen a4, queen f6. And then black plays queen a2, and then white plays queen g7 or something.
Yep. And then we get this position, and then
probably white is for choice, yeah.
White should be better here, I think. If you take, I take here.
Well, you can't take c6.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah, because
Wait,
b1.
Check.
Yeah, but you can take
That's
a5
right.
and.
Well, but then you do get some activity here. Look here.
Maybe we start with h3. Maybe that's smart because after you have to go to d7, right? And then we can go rook a7 and try to play with our own activity. Although probably it's just equal the more I think about it. Or maybe not equal, but probably black should hold.
I mean, yeah, black has a slightly worse pawn structure, but if you don't get to attack it, I don't think it's much worse. You could probably go... I wanted to say rook e7 and then somehow protect the rook and then try to offer a trade.
Yeah.
Because this rook is quite active.
I'm curious if white... So this is some real nonsense, but I wonder if you can take on d5 here.
Oh, on d5. I thought maybe you want d7 and then c6.
You know,
Okay,
and
takes,
then rook
takes.
c7. Wonder if I'm missing some major tactic. Probably am. Yeah, and then like king h2.
If you go here,
yeah,
I'll take.
bishop h3, yeah.
So, I
Yeah,
mean, okay,
so it's
we'll get
just a
into this
draw.
endgame, but should be, I think it should be a draw.
If anything, black's playing for a win.
Takes. Yeah, well, now we have this move, so. No, it's going to be a draw because you
well,
take.
Yeah, I was thinking you would go to d2 with your rook if you wanted to try to play, but
To
okay,
play for a win
but
just
like
because
rook
you got me
d6,
cut off.
and you can't
I
win.
mean, I have this e4.
Oh, yeah.
So you think, no, but that,
I was thinking rook d6 and just hold, but sure.
this should be a draw, yeah. We're really far from the from the game, but that's an interesting, this idea with knight a4 is interesting. You just need to make sure you calculate that there's no extra escape with the queen, either for white or for black after the queen captures.
Yeah, I try not to play moves like knight a4 because the likelihood that I'm wrong is like, it isn't very low, and the upside is so tiny, right? Like the upside is maybe I get some slightly better endgame, and the downside is I blundered my knight for nothing.
But this position is a little bit crazy because we could have taken f7 instead of g7, like I did, and or maybe we could just move the queen somewhere. No, we couldn't just. Wait, could I just move the queen somewhere? No, because there's queen e2. I mean, the thing is, we see a line and we really get very excited when we do commentary, so you want to show it to the audience, but obviously calculation doesn't happen over 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So we try to show you the first thing that we see, but of course sometimes we can miss things because there's not sufficient time to evaluate everything. So we realize that we're going over this line and it looks great, and then at the end you have to, when you're actually making your own calculations, you have to go back a few moves to make sure everything was forcing and you haven't missed stuff on the way. Like here, we both have our queens hanging, but if I move the queen somewhere to keep your bishop under attack, your queen is still under attack, and now I attack the bishop. So where do you move it to? E2 is the only place.
E2 is the only square, yeah.
And I have the feeling that if I attack this queen now, well...
Yeah, you attack the queen, probably black goes like h6, but it's like, black has done a lot of nonsense to try.
It's not game over.
Yeah.
I don't give up on this yet.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat is joking that we are human. Yes, surprisingly, we're human. We might be aliens, but you know, you'll never know.
We'll never tell.
Queen to. Okay, so.
Yeah, now it should be pretty convincing that black's lost.
Okay. So maybe in that position after queen b4, maybe this is an option then. Because if we takes and we can actually take. Wait, but there was this other line where they could take, but what is the evaluation here?
Well, this is better than the other line, I think, because we have an extra pawn.
We do, and then that's hanging as well. We still kept our bishop, which is very important not to get mated or stay on a back rank mate issues. And then, yeah, we might be able to survive in this position somehow.
Yeah, if black plays something like bishop d7 here, maybe we can play e4. And then after, if you play d4 here, then I'll play rook c4.
So you're keeping that attack. That protected this attack. You can bring in the other rook too. You might give up the a2 pawn, but then your rook is coming into play.
Do you want to take a look at the Theodorou
Yes,
Jacobson game?
of course. We caught up with the game. I was going fast to catch up because we've missed so much of the opening.
Yeah, some DGT errors.
I know. We apologize about that, but hopefully you guys got still something going. Is Caleb in the chat?
Caleb is in the chat, and he says that he would never admit to being an onion, which is a smart move on his part.
Yeah, I mean...
I support that decision.
Hi, Caleb. You're welcome to join us anytime if you want. Maybe just put him on the on the spot. He'll be like, really, Sabina? Fine. Tomorrow you're out. Bishop b5. Okay, so we had a Re Lopez, or not. Yes, Re Lopez. Bishop there. Rook e1. Okay, so this is quite theory.
Yeah,
there's some other move. There's 10,000 ideas here. Not 10,000, but you can take the pawn as well, of course, if you want to.
Yeah, you can play the open Roy. You can play the archangles. You can play the classical.
So many things. You can play b5, bishop c5, which I'm sure it has a name. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, this is the archangles, I think.
Oh, this is the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's that and then bishop to b7. I can't remember.
It's something with bishop b7. I just, yeah.
But yeah, this opening is a lot more. Okay, I've always felt this opening is a lot more about ideas than actual like memorization. But there's obviously like a lot of theory in this type of position.
There is. You can certainly, yeah. And there are various setups that black can choose to play. White went for a4. Okay.
This is an anti-Marshall setup. Yeah.
Yes. With d5, which I think you get the Marshall if black plays d3 here, right?
No. So the Marshall is rook e1, like what he did, and then b5, bishop b3 castles, and then if you play c3 here.
Here it is. Okay, and here you
d5,
get d5. Yeah. So this is how you get it.
Yeah, black argues that the pawn on c3 means that knight c3 is not possible, so he can play for compensation here with c6 and some attack on the king side.
And if you want to play this, probably, you should check out some of the games by Aronian. He's played a lot of these Marshalls.
Yeah.
And definitely spend a lot of time on the computer, analyzing with the computer before you go on and play this. They're tactical ideas, but you also have to know what was previously played if you want to play.
Yeah, so a4 is aimed directly at d5. So obviously d5 isn't possible in this position because b5 is hanging. So black needs to respond in some way.
So there's some typical, these are the 3 typical moves. I've played rook b8 a couple of times myself here. b4 sometimes I think can be scary because you've pushed this pawn a little bit too much, but it does play against this idea with knight c3. So white usually plays d3, and maybe later we'll get to play c3.
Yeah.
But rook b8 is the move that was chosen by Brendan Jacobson in this game.
Yeah, the big downside of b4 is that you give the c4 square to white. So like white wants to play knight d2, knight c4, and that could be pretty annoying.
That's another idea, yes. And I've played some... I was saying c3 because I've gotten that played against me as well, and after capture sometimes, I think it was, no, it's after rook b. There are some ideas when this knight can come to d5. I forgot exactly if it's in this line or if even in the rook b8 line, because knight c3 is possible. In the game it doesn't seem that it happened that way, but this idea with the knight coming to d5 can get dangerous because once you take, bishop takes, and then you have to get rid of the bishop from here, and it's...
Which is not so easy. The bishop on d5 is really well secured.
Yeah. But rook b8 was Brendan Jacobson's idea in this position, capture c3. So now he's preparing, Theodorou is preparing to go for d4.
Yeah, so I guess d4 right away, he was afraid of some bishop g4 idea, but probably not in the immediate position.
You mean in this position?
Yeah, so like d4, you can't play bishop g4 now because d5 wins a piece, right?
Yeah, they usually capture and then they go bishop g4, and black, I think, gets d5 as well. I think this is the line. And then at some point you get this.
Yeah, so
that's all I remember.
I see the line that's said in the database line, which is bishop e3, and it's cool to point out that bishop e3 here is possible because after knight e4, bishop d5 would win a piece. So this is like a typical idea in these variations.
Definitely. You can lose a piece like that in other lines in the Ruy Lopez, possibly in the Italian as well. So just keep it in mind and don't take the pawn unless you're sure this move is not possible.
I remember losing a game like this when I was 1700. I was very upset. My opponent played bishop d5.
Oh, no.
I was down a piece.
I remember I prepared one time, the first time I started playing e5 again a few years back. I played as a kid, but then I didn't play for some time. And then every single time I would play b5, I would be very scared of any move, bishop d5, because I thought that was an option for white. It never works. Not just capturing the pawn, just in general, this move of pinning my knight, and I thought I'm losing a piece if I play d6. And I always would spend 10, 15 minutes in the opening to make sure that move is not possible. So I would waste time for no reason because that move wasn't even good, but I thought it was. So it's very important to know as many ideas as possible when you're going to study some kind of opening, whatever it may be.
It's much better to spend 10 minutes for no reason and making sure that you don't lose a piece than to not spend any time and just blunder a piece,
That's debatable. I don't know. I don't know, because those 10 minutes could be very much helpful towards, the end of the game when you don't have time. It's an end game and you have to calculate things and you don't have the time. So, obviously you don't want to blunder, but... Okay, so let's see. So b4 was played here. Interesting. I guess that's the main one. I would play bishop e7 myself if I were to play here with black, but Brendan went for b4. Let's see. d3. So now that this pawn is challenged, you don't want to go for d4, I guess, because they would take, and now you would have to capture.
Oh, maybe there's a tactic here. Like if you take on c3 as knight, or some knight e4 at some point possible? No, there's still bishop d5. So what is...
Well, knight e4,
okay, never mind.
What was your idea?
Oh, no, never. I was hallucinating. Never mind.
It happens to me all the time. So it's the room. We're going to blame it on the room. I don't... Or the lights. The lights. We got too many lights. Okay, so I don't know about this this d4 in this position. Why it does not work, but Nicholas wants to be more cautious, I guess, keeping his position safe first.
Yeah,
maybe he still wants to go for this idea.
I'm very curious why d4 isn't played, because
we can put the engine for a second to check.
Yeah,
it's not even one of the main.
It's not in the top 5 moves. But it's also a good move.
Yeah.
Every move is good for white.
Yeah.
Okay.
White has a better position, so we found the right opening to play, guys. You heard it here the first time. Make sure you give us credit.
Whatever this is, it's impossible to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Top 6 moves all lead to an advantage for white.
Yeah, unless you're just going to play bishop takes f7 and sacrifice, pieces. Otherwise, this is the move that wins. No, but seriously, what's wrong with this? This is quite typical, of course, in d5, sure.
White's better after every legal move.
Which is crazy. It's not crazy because, you still maintain the advantage for a really long period of time in the opening, but we need to give the computer some thought. Eventually it will be 0-0. Probably e5 would be something you want to play, and then you allow knight here. and then you have to find the right development for these pieces. But, okay, let's see how the game went, since we know this is perfectly fine. Oh, wait, d3 is one move that does not give so much advantage to white. It gives up some of the advantage, so maybe you should have gone for d4.
Okay. But
no, we're joking a little bit, but I mean, I do not, I don't know how Theodorou is actually approaching this position, because this is round 7. He's on 4.5, sharing first place with Christopher Yu. He's got the white pieces, so in a way, maybe he should pressure a little bit. He should put a little bit of pressure on his opponent because he has the white pieces, but at the same time, he doesn't want to overpressure, not to lose and lose his first shared place. So it is always tricky. Psychology is very important. I always talk about this because you cannot just play the game. Sometimes you have to play the opponent. Sometimes you have to play you have to keep a lot of ideas open.
Theodorou, since he's white, there should be 2 rounds after this, right?
Yes, 2 more rounds.
So this game and then the following 2 games will have 2 out of 3 games with white, and Christopher Yu will have 2 out of 3 games with black. Should be
most likely, but you never know. There could be some doubling, but probably not.
So I guess from that perspective, Theodorou has like an advantage in the tournament, maybe a slight one. At least I would be happier with Theodorou, and I would definitely want to put a lot of pressure with the white pieces.
Okay.
Make Christopher Yu prove something.
In a way, yeah, that's true. But also, I often realize that when you're focusing too much on your opponent, what your opponent is doing, or then you're losing focus from your own game. So he shouldn't look that much at what Christopher does, but more focus on his games and try to get the best games that he can. And of course, it's not like they're the first 2 that they cannot be caught in the standings, because there are a lot of players with 4 points that could win and catch up. So
yeah, there are definitely a lot of sharks with 4 points.
Yeah,
right
so
behind
keeping
them.
the position. Yeah, you know.
I mean, I see this list with 4 points, and they're all like 2,600 grandmasters.
I know. It's a very strong tournament. If you guys, are just joining us now, this is. Hopefully this tournament will be organized in the future, will continue. Check out the standings that we have, our team has put on the screen for you. So once again, Christopher Yu and Nicolas Theodorou are sharing first place with 4.5, and
look at all these monsters with 4 points.
6 players, right? 6 players with 4 points, sharing third. And then look at all these grandmasters with 3.5 too.
Ilya Nyzhnyk had 26.99 FIDE at some point, 3.5 points.
Yeah,
rough tournament.
It's definitely tough. It's a very tough tournament. I mean, it's probably one of the toughest out there with so many strong players battling for. We actually haven't reminded you of this, but I wonder if our team can pull up the prize fund so that we can remind you what the players are playing for.
Yeah, they're playing for $6,000 first place prize. Right behind that, $4,000 for second, $3,000 for third, and $2,000 for fourth place, and so on. But there's definitely a lot of money, total of $25,000 in the prize fund.
Yeah, a huge prize fund, very strong tournament, and we are close to the finish of it, so it's going to be an exciting finish. Let's catch up with this game before we'll have to go on a short or longer break. So Brendan went for d takes e4 here, which makes sense. And now d takes e4, so the position is still symmetrical. Development-wise is about the same. I think we lost, and there was this game that was played between Nepo and Magnus as well a few years back.
Yeah, probably both players know about this game, right?
I have the feeling they may. Yeah. Oh, but no, Brendan went for h6 instead of bishop d6 in this position. That's what Magnus had played. But h6, okay.
Maybe Maybe it's worth turning the engine like
Sure.
right now just to see if h6 is some improvement over bishop d6 because yeah, so h6 is the top engine move, so probably this is a computer-inspired novelty.
That I'm sure Brendan has a lot of knowledge with, because I know he's spending a lot of time analyzing various openings.
Yeah, Brendan's a very serious player.
He is. I've seen him in a few tournaments, and he always seemed knowledgeable of what he does. He actually was interviewed in a few rounds ago by Jacob, and he went over his win against Kostya, and it was really nice to listen to his thinking process as he was dominating that game. I believe it was round 3, if I'm not mistaken. So, okay, so queen c2, bishop d6, knight f1. Okay, so these are very typical moves that both players have done. Very typical to bring the knight here. The knight in c4 probably he thought wasn't going to do enough, so he's bringing the pieces for a potential kingside attack, but...
Queen c8 is a very...
He wants probably this. I don't think he
yeah.
wants to sacrifice, actually. I should turn off the engine.
Yeah.
Queen c8.
Bishop e6 is one of those things that I always get wrong. Like, I play it in positions, and then my opponent takes the bishop and plays knight f5 and crushes me.
Okay.
And then when I don't do it, my opponent has this really strong light squared bishop that also, like, you know, dominates the king side.
It is annoying. And sometimes if a queen gets to come somewhere here in g3, g4, and then suddenly gets queen g6 out of nowhere,
right,
that's definitely an issue. So, but let's catch up with the game. So bishop e3, bishop e6 he did not capture. I wonder if black was considering pawn takes.
Yeah.
Maybe pawn takes. So let's see. So this is the current position. Let's get you guys up to speed. Queen to d3. And I have a feeling this game is going for a draw as well. The bishop's going to be traded. There are some ideas with queen g3, but I doubt that white will be able to break through in this position. Black does not have any weaknesses. This is a little bit weak, but what are your thoughts?
I think, yeah, probably I agree with all that. The only thing I would be concerned with a little bit, I think I'd rather be white like just a little bit because the knight on f5 is pretty good, and like queen d5 could come at an inconvenient time and disrupt like black's position, but overall probably the position is pretty level if I had to guess.
Well, guys, we were told we have an extended break. We'll be back around 1:50 p.m. Central Time, or hopefully sooner than that. Hopefully you stay with us or come back around that time. Thank you so much, and hopefully see you soon.
Have a good one.
Hi everyone, we are back. Apologizes about the longer break. I am joined by a special guest. Hi Caleb.
Hello, I won't be here long. I'm just coming to say hi.
How are you doing? How is your tournament?
I'm doing great. My tournament's going great because I dropped out, so I don't have to play anymore.
Okay, so now you're just feeling
yeah.
excited about doing some commentary?
Yeah, I wanted to pop in, say hi. It's my birthday.
Oh,
I'm 24.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. All right. Lots of presents from the chess club. Walked in, no cake, nobody knew, but that's fine. I'm not mad.
Yeah, I just found out right now on stream, so thanks for not saying that. It's great. I'm gonna write it down for next time.
Fair enough. No,
okay.
my tournament went okay. I went 1.5 out of 5. Played some good games, played some bad games, but decided to take some time off for my birthday and just relax.
Relax. Are you gonna show up back tomorrow for the last round, or?
No.
Okay.
Chess is pain, so we're taking a break. But,
well, you know how it goes. Sometimes you have good tournaments, sometimes bad ones, and you just
I mean, this tournament, honestly, I got my first real win of 2023, so I'm flying high, even though I lost a few games too.
Okay, that's.
But what's going on in this tournament? I don't even know, Sabina. Who's winning?
It's been a crazy tournament. So we have 2 players in the lead. Christopher Yu and Nicolas Theodorou. They played against each other yesterday and they drew. And we were watching before going on break with Julian. We were watching some of their positions and see what was happening in the break. I just kind of tried to take a look.
Yeah,
Still
I saw,
seemed pretty balanced, but
I'm sure you guys talked about it on the show. I saw just some ridiculous-looking game with Theodorou and Swiercz in one of the evening rounds. And just there was some crazy like stalemate trick, and then Theodorou just immediately found checkmate, and it was just
that was definitely one of the best positional games that I've seen.
Yeah,
it is one of my kind of games that I liked. Yesterday, Christopher Yu also on his turn he had a great game against Mikhail Antipov in the morning. He had a positional game where his opponent's rook was stuck in h1 and there was a king in g1, a bishop in h3, kind of keeping those 2 pieces restricted. In the end, it turned out to be a rook endgame that he converted into a win, but lots of positional games. So it's really an exciting tournament, and I can't wait to see the final game tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's much more fun to spectate than to play, so I'll have to tune into the show tomorrow and see.
We've seen you into the show earlier this morning. You were checking out.
Yeah, I popped in to see the games. But how is Christopher doing? This one looks like he's.
It seems quite balanced, I think, this position. I mean, I guess White is gonna try to play for a win if he's bringing in the king. Black is going to try to play for the defense here because the pawn is very weak.
Yeah, it looks like
Bruzon was able to kind of put some pressure on Christopher.
It looks like Black's definitely trying to hold. I think
it's not gonna be easy.
So I'm a little curious why White didn't play King G3 last turn. I'm wondering if there was F4, I guess.
I think so. Yeah.
F4 takes, and then White would take, and Black would take. So obviously, I guess what black is trying to do is simplify the position. And so if black can play f4, then that's a huge deal because you get pawns off the board, you free up your position a little bit.
He could technically play f4 in this
Well, no,
position.
obviously bishop c4 is white's
yeah,
idea.
yeah. But
yeah, rook
first
g7
here,
makes a lot of sense to me. You want to stop that king from getting in, but
maybe
see what
check.
the idea is. Yeah,
Then go king f8.
it feels like black is kind of getting out. Like rook f6 doesn't lead to anywhere.
Yeah.
This bishop on d7 is a pretty good defender, actually.
But I have a feeling that white is still having some ideas and trying to put pressure. Maybe maybe rook f6 first.
I think you kind of have to stop rook g4, though. Rook g4 is a threat.
How much do I care about that? I wonder if I could just play rook f6. Probably not.
Yeah, my idea is that...
I was thinking maybe I can give up the pawn.
Oh.
I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong.
Too scary for me. I didn't know you guys allowed tactics on the show.
We tried.
Okay.
We tried to get into some messy positions because they are not our pieces, so we can afford to sacrifice a little bit. I'm not sure if this line works, though.
Looks like you have just
I
enough
think-
squares.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, and obviously if you just defend the pawn with king h3, then...
I don't know. I think I'm good. I think I'm getting a piece now.
Oh! Too scary.
You go
Yeah,
there,
check. It's over. So
And-
definitely some
yeah.
pressure then.
So you cannot really do that. It looks like there was a move actually in this
Yeah, it
position.
looks like they're up
King
to
was
king
played.
f8. So not rook g7, but now it seems like the door might be open for king g3.
G3.
Although
let's
now,
wait.
now this
rook
rook
G7
is coming
maybe.
to g4. Yeah, I honestly even wanted to play f4 first, and that way the king can't come in.
But it is scary. Even this position is scary.
Well,
I don't know.
no. So instead of rook g7, if you start with f4, and then you can go rook g7 to g4.
Oh, okay, right. That works.
And now you're getting the pawns
But you
back.
still can go to
you're-
G4. You need to maybe go
Oh,
here
yeah, my
first.
piece is attacked, but now you can go to h6.
H6 or here. Maybe H6 to keep your rook from getting
Yeah.
okay. You can put your bishop in F5 though.
Yeah,
and
it looks
still
like one of
having
those
these ideas.
positions where maybe black should give up a pawn just to make the task a little easier, actually. But
Yeah, definitely. Because when you give up the pawn, these pawns are doubled, so it seems like it would be easier to hold.
yeah,
A nice idea to mention for black as a defensive mechanism is if you manage to trade those 4 pawns here, well, now they're just 3, but if you somehow manage to get rid of these pawns, you could afford at some point to trade and give up your bishop, because this is wrong. This is going to be a wrong corner bishop for the end game.
Obviously,
So
as white here, you never want to give up the rooks.
Of course,
Actually,
of
no.
course.
Sometimes you do want to give up the rooks, but
it depends
if those
what kind of
pawns disappear,
position.
then
Yeah. It is a little bit tricky. I feel that white is going to continue pressuring. Time-wise, however, Christopher has, I don't know if he's usually able to keep this much time, but he's been able to manage his time very, very well.
yeah, he's a little kid. He can he can turn on the jets.
I mean, he's not that kid anymore. He's actually the junior champion. He won last year's junior championship. He
Yeah,
played
exactly.
quite well in the U.S. championship last year as well. So
Still a little
he's- Yeah, still pretty young. But yeah, this is going to remain. Wait, there was another move that was played, I think. King to G3.
It looks like king
No,
g3, king
no,
e7.
King E7 was played. Okay, so he did not play that.
He-
Well,
he
actually,
wants all
this
the
is nice.
pawns.
This is nice to see where the rook goes, and then you'll decide whether you'll go F4 or not,
Yeah.
I think.
Very compact. I imagine it should go to h6, but don't know if it can stay there.
I feel that black will have some ideas of trading that rook. Should you choose
I
to
mean,
go there.
the problem here for black is it's much easier to defend along one diagonal. So I think that's maybe what you're kind of showing is this bishop coming into f5. But with this pawn on f5, you can't really get the bishop to g6 so easily and defend all the pawns. Like this h7 pawn is always going to be loose until you can get the bishop there.
But I think, like I said, as long as black is able to somehow get rid of these 2 pawns, he has big chances to hold. And F4
Yeah,
was played,
I
by the way.
think Christopher should
Yeah,
hold this.
he should be able to hold.
And f4 is on the board, yeah.
It's slightly worse, but for black, but he should be able to hold. Let's go on to this other game because this was interesting. I thought this was interesting as well. The pawn structure has changed a little bit since we left off with Julian earlier, because now white's last move was queen d5, so he's comfortable to make the trade. Now, if you trade, you
Yeah,
take back,
looks
and you're
like
going to have
you're
2 pieces hanging. You have
losing
two
it
pieces. No,
losing
you're not.
at least the f7 pawn, right?
Let's see. Knight here, rook takes f7, king g6. Okay, we have this move. We should be perfectly fine.
Yeah,
with
I'm not a
white
huge
to
fan
have
of king g6, but
you'd prefer king g8. Still, there's a pawn down.
It's a pawn. So if
Well,
black might not be so happy with that. They might.
He shouldn't.
You're
trade
not
the
obligated
queens,
to
but
take, but where else does the knight go? Right?
that's the problem.
have so
That
many
is the
squares.
problem. It doesn't. So he checked first, king h2. These moves were played, and if you could somehow take advantage, maybe this is an option potentially. But do you actually have something? Because yes, check. Let's check this.
So
one. Check.
check. You can get to e2 with white. Is that
Can
true?
you? Can you get to e2 without danger? I think so. Well, I got this check.
Yeah,
This
I'll
is
go,
very
go
fancy.
g4 maybe.
Luckily, the queen is protected.
Yeah, especially with this knight here, I think. Queen h1.
Yeah, no.
There's
but
a reason I
the
dropped
queen
out of
is
this
protected.
tournament.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's easy to forget these kind of things. I've done a lot of
even
strategies
here you
lately.
can maybe go to g3, but I'm not so happy.
So the thing is, you could go there or you could go knight g2.
Yeah, knight g2, queen h3 I thought might be a problem, so if you go to g3 first, I thought you might be okay. And then knight g2 after rook g1. It's a little
Yeah, I
scary,
think-
but you're up a piece.
Yeah, I think black.
Yeah,
is
black would love to
not-
play like g5 or something, but you just can't. You're gonna
You
get
don't have sufficient time. You're gonna get mated
checkmated.
first. Yeah. So maybe that sacrifice doesn't work. So black would have to go into that endgame with the pawn down.
Yeah, it doesn't look so terrible, to be honest. Maybe you can play rook d1 in the final position. So take.
Rook d1 here.
Knight e4 first, I think. And then now rook d1. And you have a lot of stuff hanging with white.
We do, but we also have an extra pawn, so I'm thinking to push.
c4, knight d6.
Okay, but that takes you from my f2
Right.
pawn. We go back.
Can I take on c4?
You want to be sneaky? I thought I had this move, but
Rook
you
d4.
have this.
So it's very, very loose, but it just seems like
It's
like
not over.
black is pretty active.
It's not over until it's over.
Okay, here I should be able to escape.
Yeah,
right?
because you can play.
Yeah, even
you,
if I
you will have this move
maybe I
after.
can take your pawn with
Yeah,
check,
yeah.
but I don't even have to.
You can do that. This keeps on going. The thing is that I cannot play king f3, but because
Knight
there's
e2
this
is
check,
This check, yeah.
very unpleasant check.
Feels like black should be able to hold it together.
He
but
seems like he will be able to. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
I think you definitely just give up this pawn on f7 and try and recoup it. You could also play rook c1 instead of rook d1 in some position. Yeah, so queen takes d5 has been played. I mean, I think you have to. Your knight's
Yeah.
just trapped.
knight takes.
Yeah, I mean, knight e4 just makes the most sense.
Yeah,
think
to
you wanna
keep
go
everything under
e6,
attack.
And then after rook f7, if you don't play rook f7, I'm not sure. You can try and win with just the c pawn, I guess, but seems difficult. And then
No,
yeah.
you have to take that pawn. You're also weakening this
So
one now.
if you go
so.
rook d1, maybe knight e3 could be an issue, but I wanted to just play rook c1 in that position.
Here?
So rook d1 first, I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
say.
that's what I thought. So this is our
And
line, right?
then-
So now you want to
Well,
switch?
no, here knight d6
Yeah.
was good enough, I think.
Yeah, I think this was.
You can
this was
play
pretty
like
good.
knight f6 check at some point, but I just don't think it's gonna do the job.
No, because you can play king g6, and I think I'm. gonna
Yeah,
lose
I
something.
thought maybe rook c7, and then some knight
Here?
f6. Yeah, so rook c7 first.
Oh, okay.
So we were saying knight takes c4 here. You can throw in this check, but I honestly don't think it really helps here either. Like, okay, maybe knight e8? Is this like a problem?
I think this king is gonna run away.
This looks
I
like
don't think it's.
no. This looks like a pretty serious problem, though, right?
Okay, I don't need to go
G7
to.
is a
No,
problem.
I have to go to g6.
Knight's attacked. Maybe it's not so simple. Yeah, I mean, I'll just take g7 with check.
Oh, you want to go that way?
Yeah, and okay, it's a pawn. My
It's
knight's
a
a little
pawn,
awkward,
but the pawns are connected. It's not going to be very easy.
You can go
to-
rook e7 here.
Your knight is also somewhat trapped. It's not going to be piece of cake to get it out of there. I also can bring my knight
I
back.
want to play for mate somehow, but it's not so easy. Yeah, knight g7 is no good yet. And maybe just f3.
I want to try to get rid of my pawn, if I can.
Yeah, I mean, black might definitely survive.
You do have this, but every time you give me this check, I have king
yeah,
f6.
king f6 is a problem.
And then you have to move the rook far away.
You know, but it is a pawn. I might have played some awkward moves with white here. But maybe, you know, if I were playing with black and I saw this line and I go down this pawn, I wouldn't be super happy.
This is the current position, by the way. These moves were played.
So can we just play rook c1 and take that pawn directly?
That is an option. That is a move. Like someone was saying, I
Playing
want to
some
play for the
checkmate,
mate.
yeah.
Since you already gave me the idea, I might as well just take it. So
I can throw
we can show this
in-
line.
Oh, yeah, of course.
For the audience. It's a nice kind of mate.
Could throw in king g8, I guess. Should have to.
And now where do we move? If I kept my rook on the f file, I still maintain that threat.
Yeah, this looks very, very nasty. Like, knight e7 to g6 is, you know, pretty upsetting.
You could go knight, yeah, but it's not really.
It's, all right, you might just get checkmated very, very quickly after, yeah, rook f8.
Knight g6.
Not sure you have any time here.
This is tough. This is tough. But
So
okay,
h5
it's not forcing.
h5 is a pretty big threat.
No, I did like your first idea though, rook d1 attacking that knight first, because
feels
this
like
forces.
You have to shake some things loose.
I think it's kind of forces c4 going back.
You
Going
could go
back is
back,
not good,
and then if rook c1,
Oh, sorry, that rook is
if rook c1, you can go c4, I guess. But maybe rook d3 is the idea instead of rook c1.
Yeah, because rook d3 you'll have the capture here
Yeah.
too, right? Can I take?
Maybe knight f5 is good though. No, king g6. Okay.
And you don't.
Yeah.
Is it over? I don't know if it's over yet. We still have some mating ideas. I mean, this idea with h5 is something that white definitely has.
I definitely don't super love it for black. It just feels like we should have some simple way, right? Some simpler way to do these kinds of things.
Okay, so
But
this is the
maybe-
current
maybe it's
position.
not
Maybe we
there.
can think at some other moves. But what?
Yeah, I think
d1.
rook d1 seems like the most forcing, for sure.
This is another.
You definitely want to do something about this knight f6 idea, and especially with this h5
Wait,
idea
there's
as well.
no actual threat by white just yet, or is this a threat? Or is this a threat? I'm thinking since h5 always is trying to mate us, maybe we could just try to play king g6 or h5.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, white might not have a severe threat, but they're up a pawn. You know, the threat maybe is
Yeah,
just...
of course.
If white can consolidate, the c-pawn is going to cause some real problems.
Theodorou is going for the win. At first, when this game started, it just seemed that he's just keeping the game balanced and going for some equality or something. But then after that, you know, nothing. Well, we skipped a lot of the moves, so we're directly into the end game now.
Theodorou definitely found some ways to pose problems, to say the least. So
Yeah.
I think Jacobson will spend most of his remaining time here because this is...
No,
he's going to move. He's
Knight
gonna play knight
f6. Wait, what?
Okay, so this is...
Is this possible?
Yeah, this is more little kid tactics.
Okay, so if we take, there's king g6,
Yeah.
and now when you move the rook, somewhere he's gonna take, and he thinks that 4 versus 3.
Sure.
You think it's easy. I don't think it's so easy.
I don't know if he thinks it's easy, but judging by the lines we were looking at...
How would you capture?
I think you should take with the pawn here. I think that this pawn on e5 is a bigger weakness than the pawn on h6. If that makes sense. Like,
It
you would
makes
rather
sense,
have
it makes
e5
sense.
be strong and defended than the pawn on h6, in my opinion. But I've been wrong before. So
I'm kind of worried about your king. That's why I was asking you, because I
Yeah.
think...
well,
I think you have to be,
g4 h5.
Yeah. But you have to be mindful about these ideas.
Yeah.
Because...
So my understanding of these endgames is black should try to create a passed pawn.
Which is going to be very difficult. Unless you think
So
this is going to work.
You could theoretically play f5 in this position and lose all your pawns.
You are definitely you're definitely aggressive.
Don't go
You're
F5.
definitely aggressive. I get it. I get it. But I don't know about that F5. I think you could try to create your passed pawn. I'm just worried. This is an option, of course. So you have created your passed pawn, but it's not going to be as powerful because White has 2 further away passed pawns, so that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, I think, the idea is we want to distract White's rook, and if we can trade off our E pawn for the C pawn, then our job is going to be so much easier. So
right.
maybe we can try and get something like that, but it's...
Maybe we could take with the king too in that position.
It's certainly not trivially drawn, and it might not be drawn at all after some time.
I would prefer this.
You like this one better?
I like this better because I'm thinking if we get the chance to play g5 and trade off these pawns, even if at some point we might lose another one.
So I think White's going to play your move g4 in every position.
Still?
Yeah, and if you go g5, I'll go h5, and then you have some real problems.
Not necessarily, because I want to go e4 and I want to try to get my king in this way. And when you come this way, I'll give you checks in the back.
But so you don't have so much time, right? I can go king g3?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't. Okay, so you said when I go g5.
g5, h5?
You might be able to give me a couple of checks, but you want to go h5. Okay, then I'll give you this check.
King h2? Or sorry, h3?
Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Well,
I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take it.
You wouldn't take it?
I would
take it. Yeah, and now I just want to...
So you need to start marching this pawn.
Maybe I should start with king g2, to be honest.
Okay, sure. But the problem is, when your king is in g2, then I have this entrance.
So I changed my mind.
Yeah, so...
No, I still like it. King h3, rook
Okay.
c1.
King h3, sorry, rook c1. Okay.
So my whole point is I just wanted to play rook h7. But I'm hanging my pawn with check, but I don't care this time.
Are you sure about that?
So I guess you're getting into f4 just in time, right?
I am.
So I'll take on h6.
You're not going to win this, I promise you. Maybe you're going to lose in the best case.
Well, what if I go
kidding.
rook h8, you take me, I go h6, and then h7.
I'm not really sure how you want to win, because I can just place my rook on 7th rank and just keep your pawn attacked once you get it there.
Okay.
And luckily I still have this pawn, which means f3 I'll take. I think I can do this.
So h7?
I think. I could be wrong.
Oh, you're going to bring your king behind your rook, so you go rook h6.
Actually, I could do both. I could
well,
put
rook c7 I wasn't convinced, because can I just win with king f1 to e2 to e3?
Yeah, I saw that idea. I'm just thinking I could just go there and then just go grab your pawn.
Aha! Okay, I believe you.
Okay, good.
All right.
Good.
Well, so my impression of both games, White is trying to win, but Black is trying to not lose. So, everything up in the air.
It's still up in the air. The players are approaching time control. Can you tell us about the location, the tournament? Also, what do you think about Jacob's interviews? Did you have the time to watch some of those interviews on
yeah,
location?
So the tournament is on the St. Louis University. It's not really directly on campus. I'm not sure if it's still technically on the grounds or not, but it's at Il Monastero. It's which I guess is Latin for the monastery.
Mm-hmm.
It basically looks like an old church, and there's plenty of space. Chess Club brought some snacks and drinks for the players,
that was
so
nice.
we're well cared for.
I also saw a lot of the pictures by Austin and
yeah, I noticed a lot of pictures in the intro of the show. Guess I didn't make the cut, but that's okay. That's all right.
Everyone, if they want to watch the pictures, they are on St. Louis Chess Club's Flickr page, right? So that's a great way to check out some very intense pictures. I've checked some out and I thought they were great. Austin and Crystal are always
they
wonderful
always do a great job.
Yeah.
But no, the tournament I think has been going pretty smoothly so far.
Do you have a pick on who may win this tournament based on these 2 games that you saw? And that's it. They're not even over yet. We don't know what's going to happen, but
yeah, I think
let's get your pick. We should have done that.
So,
I don't know why we didn't.
Judging from today, obviously Christopher has black and Theodorou has white, but this is definitely the type of endgame that white wins a lot of the time. It's going to take some very, very accurate play from black to survive. Now you managed to do it in whatever line we were just in.
Okay,
but it's different when you're playing Theodorou instead of
right.
me.
That's right. Well, don't be so tough on yourself. I think.
Yeah, no, I honestly Theodorou has very decent chances to get a full point here, and then obviously that would catapult him into Sol first, which would, because I don't think Christopher's ever going to win against Bruzon here.
And he possibly will get an extra white in the last round. So that's going to be a good way, whereas Christopher might have the black pieces. We don't know. Yeah. But it was great having you here. Is there anything else you'd like to?
Thanks for having me on. I just wanted to come say hi, talk about a little chess. But I will give the reins back to Julian.
All right. Well, I appreciate you joining us. I hope we'll see you again very soon. If not, you guys know where to check out some of Caleb's videos.
Oh, yeah. Thanks very much. I've got my own YouTube channel now. I upload once every 5 months, so mark your calendars for the next video. And again, thank you very much for having me on. I will see you guys soon.
All right. Thank you, Caleb. Double elimination starts Friday for the American Cup, Friday, March 17th. And it's going to start at 1 p.m. Central Time. The commentary might start a little bit earlier than that. We have Grandmasters Yasser Serwan, Christian Kirilla, and International Master and very strong female chess player Jovanka Huska. So I cannot wait for that tournament. I don't know about you guys. But this tournament still has this round to end, and then we'll have, another round in the afternoon that we're not really going over, unfortunately, but you guys can always check out the games and results on the lichess.org page. Going back into this game between Nicolas Theodorou and Brendan Jacobson, looks like a couple more moves were played since Caleb and I discussed this position, knight f6 and then c4, as I'm joined back by my wonderful co-host, Julian Proleiko. Hi back, Julian. How are you feeling being back?
Good.
Good?
Get to see some
crazy
exciting
things.
or not so exciting chess.
Happening here with this interesting endgame that you and I, when we started talking about this game, I think we never thought that this could happen, right?
Yeah, it seemed pretty equal before we left, right? And now Theodorou is definitely for choice, seems.
Yeah, and Caleb and I were talking earlier about this move, knight f6, that black played.
Right.
Caleb suggested this move, rook d1, that I thought was quite interesting, but Brandon went for knight f6, and after knight f6, the capture did not happen, although I thought that position would give white maybe some chances.
Knight f6 is a very, very fancy move.
Right,
it's hard to consider.
Yeah. So probably go after king g6, rook c7 that we were suggesting, probably king takes was a good choice for black. Obviously, black is not going to win this, but I think this. What are your thoughts about this position? Would you have taken with the g-pawn or king if this were to be played?
Yeah, I don't think I can really say it without like thinking about it for a few minutes. It's definitely like a hard decision, right?
Yeah, you have to spend some time, obviously. It's a rook endgame, so anything can happen, but
intuitively, I guess like pawn takes makes more sense to me, but I mean, it definitely does have this downside of like g4 and all your pawns can get fixed and weak. But
yeah, that's what I was worried about, because even h5 is good, but then when you're making the trade, you're actually leaving white with this further away passed pawn that could be very annoying. So
yeah.
But that did not happen, so we don't need to worry too much about it. c4 was played, and then black played rook to b2.
Yeah.
In this position.
A funny trick black could have played. Now, granted, you know, these are all tricks, so you shouldn't play this way. But black could have played rook b3 if you're trying, you know, if you're playing bullet, you'd play rook b3, right? Because you're threatening knight g4, which leads to checkmate. So, if knight f6 isn't like a concern right now, rook b3 is a candidate move, I suppose.
It's kind of
like you know, if you play some passive improving move, like, I don't know, it's actually, every improving move stops my threat, but my threat right now is knight g4 check, king g1, rook b1.
Yeah, it's really
not so subtle.
Yeah. Let's just make some silly move to show that. Sorry about it. I was reading the chat and I got a little bit distracted there for a second. They want to see how Kostya won his game against Balaji, I believe.
Ooh.
That's a result that I think just came in. But this is really nice. I mean, this game, is this game gonna end in a draw? I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, definitely Brandon would be pretty happy if this game ended in a draw.
Of course. He's slightly worse in this position. Could we play f3 or is this too much to ask?
I think f3 has some good positional foundation.
He may consider going rook c2 and trying to get the c pawn. I think it's important to get this pawn since it's the furthest away past pawn, and then usually you can deal with, you know, a pass pawn even if you have one down if your king is in front of it. But this remains to be seen. Let's go really fast and see how Kostya was able to take down Grandmaster Balaji Dagopati. Did you have a chance to look at the game at all?
No breaks, unfortunately.
No breaks.
It's been one thing after
There was
another.
a longer break, but unfortunately, there was a meeting.
Yeah, an all-staff meeting.
Yes,
Everybody had to attend. Oh, I actually know this line.
This
wow,
is interesting.
That's incredible.
This is very interesting. I was just curious.
A knight e5 is not the usual move here.
I think I played something like this one time. It says it's the main.
Arguably, one of actually so normally so I play h3 here, bishop h5, and then knight c3, and then after e6, g4.
Yeah, now g4. Yeah, I think
Right.
I played a game like this. This is supposed to be really good for white.
Yeah, arguably the best game I ever played was against Michael Mollier, where I just crushed him with prep in this exact line.
Okay.
I have very fond memories of this line. It's knight d7, and then knight g6, hg, g5. The point of g5 is that black positionally wants to play g5, so you stop him. Then knight e4, yeah, take, g5's hanging, so you have to play h4. So then bishop b4
But
check.
this position looks a little bit scary for black.
Yeah, so if you just give white two bishops, he's happy. So bishop b4 to trade that off, queen a5. And black actually has a threat here. Black's threat is knight e5, which wins the game, which is hard to see. Because if you take it, then castle's queenside. And you just lose material.
That is nice.
Yeah.
So if you play some... Okay, a3, I guess.
So a3 is the main move.
Yeah, so if we put some strange move for white, I don't even know what.
Yeah, like...
Okay, let's just put some strange
Sure,
move.
yeah.
That's terrible, but okay, takes, long castle, and the thing is you're pinned, you're double pinned, like a cross pin in a way, and there's nothing to... Maybe I happen to have put a decent move because I think I have f4 here, but anyways...
No, it still works because f4 I take on d2 with the rook.
Oh.
And then I play
rook.
and
then you put the other rook. Okay,
Morph-
so you think you
Morphy
escape,
style.
but no. But even Ampassan probably would have created some unpleasantries for white, but yeah, okay, this is nice.
Yeah.
This game over. Nice idea.
Yeah.
So I guess they have to play something a3?
Yeah, a3, and then it's bishop d2, queen d2, queen d2, king d2. And then, so in the current position, white now has a threat, which is bishop g2. Because if you play f5 after bishop g2, I'll take it en passant, and then you're left with this horrible pawn structure. So you play f5 right away to stop bishop g2.
But you don't take now with white, do you?
No.
Yeah,
So I'm saying if you play like king e7 or something, for instance, then white goes bishop g2, and if you play f5, then
now
take.
You have to take, and you have to take with the knight.
Which is not great.
This would be terrible for the poor black pawn structure. Okay.
Right. So they play f5 right away before bishop g2 can be played, and
so you don't take here because you're helping him.
Fixes their pawn structure. So then c5, and this is like the starting position with a lot of ideas. The point of c5 is, you gain space and you also stop knight b6 to d5. So
nice.
I'm a big fan of this variation for white.
Looks very nice for white. If black doesn't get any breaks with e5 or f4, this is probably what he's going to try to do. But whenever he does that, he does end up weakening, these pawns, specifically g6. That's probably going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
it's not like lost for black or anything, but it's just so pleasant to play with white. But Kavutskiy chose like maybe an improvement over this. He's like trying to improve on a line that's already considered to be good for white. So
he took in g6, knight d2.
Aha. He's claiming the knight is better on d2 than c3.
Well, it's tricky.
I don't know
it's
if I
actually very
believe
tricky.
him,
No, sometimes people play knight d2 either to try, because the idea still should be e4 potentially, unless black is going to play e5 like it happened in the game. But I feel that if this is played, you go bishop g2, and then your plan is going to be to play e4 and trade there, and you'll have the bishop pair, and typically, eventually, after you castle and everything, you will have a plan to eventually break open the position with d5. It takes a while. I think there are a few good games that were played in that, with that break idea, but so it doesn't technically matter where you put the knight, but
yeah, I guess the advantage of having the knight on d2 over c3 is that dc4 is never like really an idea anymore.
Yeah, if
Whereas,
you go bishop g2.
Yeah, if we put the knight on c3 and we play bishop g2, then black could definitely consider capturing the c4 pawn at some moment.
That's right.
Yeah.
You would get it back, but it takes more time. But with the knight there, that's a thing. And I think the plans, like I said, are still with e4. Just the problem is that black played e5 directly. So that was, that's interesting.
I guess highlights why the knight would be worse on d2, right? Because if the knight were on c3, then you control d5, and you would be left with some isolated pawn on d5.
Right.
But now it's not so easy.
So still took, and he left the pawn.
So he still get
He captured with the pawn, but I mean, if knight were to take, I think we had probably some ideas.
C4.
Yeah. And this check, we have bishop d2, so we should be fine. And I think white wouldn't be scared to castle short side in this position with the bishop in g2 protecting h3. You don't really have an easy way to attack white's king. Okay, so let's go on with the game. So knight c6, g5.
Whoa.
Okay, he decided to go for the attack without finishing his development. That's interesting. A lot of people fear castling because they see the rook still on the h-file, they see the bishop and the diagonal all open, but I think, you know, if you calculate a little bit, you realize that it takes black a couple of moves to actually get to h2, so you probably have sufficient time to play knight f3.
Yeah, the thing I was concerned about a little bit
Even e4.
was d4 instead of moving the bishop, but it's a little nonsense
Here?
because if you play e takes here, then potentially I can play like knight takes g4 because I've blocked your queen's defense over the g4 square.
But the knight comes here.
But yeah, I mean I don't have such good development, probably, and even this position, if you take, it's probably a draw.
You think?
No, bishop h2 is perpetual, right? No
Maybe
way.
you have a mate. Do you have a mate?
I didn't calculate. If I do, it's by luck.
I don't know if you do. You might. Maybe not. Because of knight of 10. Okay, never mind. I don't take it. I was actually thinking of taking there, but
yeah, I was
but
thinking
king
about.
f8.
I was thinking about doing that in the previous position before, like instead of taking on d4, like bishop takes c6.
Takes?
Like this is probably an issue.
Because if you takes. Okay, king f8, and then the queen would come back here.
Yeah, worst case, queen comes back to g2, and then where's black's compensation?
Oh wait, I know. Well, I will take an e3. What will you do about this capture? And
Fe.
so you go back here now, or?
Yeah, queen g2 maybe.
Okay, I'll definitely take here. Okay, if I go queen b6, you have knight c4.
Yeah.
And I can't go queen e7 because my rook is hanging.
Yeah, I mean also queen b6, queen a8, right? So it's hard to move the queen off the 8th rank.
I guess I have to bring in my rook first.
Right. So knight e4, oh, it might be too much. Yeah, knight e4 takes on h3. Yeah. And then queen g6.
I know.
No, but then rook,
I
but
think
then
I'm gonna go rook
fine.
h1. I'm just gonna go for it.
H1.
Like,
Yeah,
you can't take because
queen
is
h4
it
and
mate?
then
yeah, it's mate.
yeah.
That is mate. But you don't need to take the
Yeah,
rook
so
necessarily. However,
king g2, but then rook c2. Oh no, the queen guards backwards.
the queen.
Huh.
No, I got this.
Oh, rook
check.
h2, yeah.
But you come back.
At the very least, it's perpetual, but
No, I feel like we should have more than. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, wait. I know. Rook c2.
yeah, take and then rook
Yeah,
h2. Yeah, that's nice.
There.
Mm.
Okay, this is very messy. I'm sure we've messed up along the way many
Oh
times.
yeah, for sure.
But it's an interesting line to show. Anyways, so what did you suggest here after
Oh,
castle?
I just
D4?
suggested a nonsense tactical variation. So
Yeah, it's-
maybe d4 is interesting. Who knows?
It is interesting. I agree, and it has to be calculated. And at the board with around our 30, it's gonna be a little bit crazy. By the way, I just see we got a result in the game Lazaro Bruzon against Christopher Yu. So it remains to be seen if Nicolas Theodorou is going to be able to take down Brendan Jacobson to take the lead in this Super Swiss.
It's a good result for Christopher, right? He was sort of suffering in that game, I think.
Yeah, he was suffering a little bit with the pawn structure. He had a lot of pawns blocked on light square, or the light square bishop. It was a bit of an issue, but okay.
You want to check out the? Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to scroll through.
Yeah,
Let's see the blunder that happened because it seems quite natural. Ooh.
This game was very sharp.
All right, so long castle was an option, but queen f5 was played, and the engine said that this was a blunder. Let's try to figure out why. Well, it seems just so natural, but I guess because the king is in the center, white has some way to defend.
It's so hard not to look at the moves and just
I know,
see the answer.
I saw it was there.
Yeah.
I didn't even press it, but
Yeah.
it was pressed before. Someone pressed to analyze this game. Unfortunately, we can't get rid of the analysis once it's there, I think. But queen b5 is what Kostya played. So this might be important.
Yeah. So the point must be that I don't know why f4 doesn't also win, by the way. But no, actually maybe I do. No, okay. So knight c6 here, queen b7 wins, right? So maybe this also wins, but the point is queen b5 attacks the d3 knight, so f4 and you chase one knight away and then capture the other one. So it seems pretty convincing.
But wait a second. What if I don't want to move the knight? Is it possible that I could play this strange?
Wait, so if I take on e5, you have
I just have a check. I don't think I have more.
D3, yeah.
I don't think I have more. I saw one check. And you know what they say? A revenge check. You just give that one
Revenge check,
check.
yeah.
Just one check and then that's it.
Good old spite check.
Yeah. No, there's nothing. This king is in the center, but there's nothing we can do about it.
Maybe white's king's safer than black's king, surrounded by all his army, all his pieces.
People are saying f4 is not right, but why is this move not right?
So queen b5 was
Is
played
knight
in the
takes?
game, but
Oh, wait, knight takes?
knight takes, queen d3.
Now I have more checks, more spiteful
Wait,
checks.
king f2?
F2, I got this check.
Oh, bishop c5, yeah. Wait,
So,
okay, hold on. I'm blind, so you have to help me out. So bishop c5, king f2, king g2. Where's the next check?
no, I did. It's just so I just said it has more checks than the
Oh,
previous
okay.
one, so I just went for the line.
Sorry. Because I'm threatening queen b5 check, and I'm up a piece.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the position is not clear to me, at least. Yeah, it's hard.
I got this, but then you have queen a4.
check, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Why is queen b5 so important?
It's not. No, I thought I would give one more check. Maybe I don't need to. Well, now you want to take this knight too. I don't know how many pieces black can afford to give up in this position. I know white's underdeveloped here, but I don't think it's going to be good to give that many pieces away. Maybe.
Yeah, rook h3 maybe gives something.
I mean,
but
you can always just take.
take and take on e5 even.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
don't
up
think I have
a lot of material.
Yeah, way too much. I can't. I guess he decided to give this check first.
Mm-hmm.
And then f4. I don't think it matters. He just tried to avoid potentially just that check.
Mm-hmm.
He could have given it later too. And then a6 was played.
Right.
Knight takes c1. It's hard to come up with ways here with black, but giving up this knight for that doesn't seem like the right thing to do, because you're just...
why he played a6 first instead of knight takes c1. Because after queen b7, a8 is hanging.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take on c1 now, it seems like superficially we're solving some of our issues, even if our position doesn't look great.
Yeah,
like
that's gonna hang anyways
knight
anytime.
d7.
But I agree, a6 just seems like...
Oh, I guess your queen's trapped. Oh, that no, it's
No,
not.
you can
No,
take.
it's not.
I think we still
Oh,
do
wait,
this.
but if you take there,
I can take here with the bishop.
yeah, that endgame looks horrible for black.
How many extra pawns do I have? 2? Only 2?
I mean, 2 is enough.
It feels, it just feels like it's so many more, and that rook is out of play in a way.
Yeah, and if you go rook c8, then rook b8, rook c8 here, like the position has to be pretty dead for black.
Yeah. I can try to be, oops, sorry about that. I didn't mean to make that move. I can
You're
just try
meaner.
to be sneaky.
You're meaner than I am.
I was.
Sabina's
I was
a mean person.
She's in a mean mode,
Yeah.
Sometimes she just wants to sacrifice everything.
Taking all your, you can even add knight c6. You can save all your pieces.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I forgot it. I thought I could do it earlier, but I didn't see it was check. Yeah, so I think still you get it. You get to take it here. I don't know if I have a couple more checks, but anyways, this is really bad. So Kostya took that pawn, and then seems like there are a few checks, but once you put the knight in front, it's kind of over for the checks. Knights are usually known to defend a king very well against queen checks, and then he just cruised through to victory.
So black never had the option of like moving his knight to d3, because always there was some checkmate being threatened either on f7 or a8.
Right.
So
it's tough.
Nice game by Kostya.
Really nice, yeah. Congrats to Kostya. I don't know if we're gonna get interviews today or not. We were not told yet. It's been a little bit on an unusual day. We're waiting on it to see, but it's been a little bit of an unusual day.
Today's been a little bit hectic at the chess club.
But that's okay. That's okay. We're back with this. So when Caleb was here, we were looking around this position. I just wanted to see how the players ended up drawing this. So the past few moves, Christopher brought in his king closer to restrict that rook away, and then he had this move f4 that I thought white was trying to stop by bringing the king to f4, but black was a little bit faster. So after pushing that, the trade happened, and now, although you gave up a pawn, it's just going to be hard for white to progress this position because everything is black. Oh, and Kostya is watching the stream. Good job. Nice game. Nice game. We liked your game. Thanks for following us. So rook f7. By the way, there was a delay, so that's why he's probably in the chat. We do have a delay in the games. He didn't just finish, but
makes some
we
sense.
don't know if he was interviewed or not. We were not told about that.
Yeah.
But okay, so I guess. Okay, so Christopher now is coming back to protect that pawn before grabbing that one, I guess. Or could he not have taken it? I think he could have, right?
Yeah, I think he just didn't want to trade what seems to be like a weak doubled f-pawn for the h-pawn. Like, why even give white this option?
Yeah, it's not necessary, I guess. Since anytime you go king g3, we'll have rook g7 check and then rook back. But bishop h5, chasing that rook away, and then, brought in the king. Oh, nice. I love e3.
Okay.
Getting rid of the other.
More pawns. Also, it might not seem important right now, but it is the wrong colored h-pawn.
Yes, it is.
So if we trade rooks and I sacrifice my bishop for the f-pawn, then I can never lose.
I should have made that another color. So that you notice the difference. So you're not able to lose that position no matter what. And
but now it's not so difficult.
Okay.
Even
if you lose this pawn.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
But that's hard. That's
hard.
That takes a while to practice that position. I think it's in 100 endgames you must know There are a few variations, and it explains to you how you should do it and such. It's of course in Dvoretzky's endgame manual and pretty much all endgame manuals out there, but yeah, this is...
Yeah, it's definitely not an endgame you want to have practically.
Yeah.
You might forget something and just mess something up. I wouldn't be 100% confident if I
But the
lost
moves
match
happen so fast. I'm really surprised because, I mean, how could
Yeah.
I have played so many moves? Is this game not over?
No, the game is over.
Okay, they just played like
Oh.
incredibly fast and just made the moves, and then okay.
Yeah.
I don't think they had to play till stalemate, but I guess they, some tournaments have this rule that you need to play at least 30 moves, or sometimes you are not allowed to offer a draw. But
Do you
Right.
want to check out this Vasif game against Dennis since we haven't like looked at it yet?
sure,
Yeah. Oh, more rook end games.
more rook end games. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess this is.
Chess is all about rook end games.
We haven't had that many the previous days with
So.
Doug. How did they arrive into this position? So there's rook bishop versus rook knight, and
I do like white in that final position.
I just wanted to see how the bishop was given up for the knight. Okay. Defense, and now he decided to give it up, and he did not take the pawn in g7 because
So this requires a lot of calculation,
it
but
does.
I suppose your king's just not very strong. Probably some draw, yeah.
This should be a draw.
Yeah.
So instead, king e6, rook b5.
Yeah, it's a nice move because c4 is kind of weak, right?
It's a nice restricting move because you keep black's king cut off from the pawn, so it cannot come to protect it. And at the same time, you're keeping this rook of black's passive to protect that pawn, and you're keeping your own weakness protected. Now, a simple plan for white would be to just bring in the king, which I think is going to be very easy. Now, Denis needs to activate that rook fast. The problem is when you get on the d file, we'll just capture the pawn, and whenever you play, say, a rook to d2 to attack it, we'll be right back, or coming right back. So you don't really have the opportunity to activate your rook.
Yeah, I think black's defensive task here is going to be really tough, to be honest with you. I do not envy black's
You need
position.
to try to trade these pawns fast so that you can move with the king on this other side of the board.
Right.
Even if you lose a pawn, like if you were to get rid of all three versus these two, although that you're most likely going to lose because white's really getting that pawn.
Honestly, I think what black should try to do, and this is like almost impossible, is trade the f pawn for the g pawn and then try to get counterplay against the h5 pawn.
But how?
It's like...
So g6. But doesn't
Yeah,
this allow
g6.
check? Oh, it did allow check, yeah.
Yeah, this does not look good for black.
Well, at least he succeeded in doing one thing, and that is he was able to get his rook away from passivity. So now he gets it.
That's true, but the point, the reason why the rook was passive was it had to defend all these pawns, and it still has to defend all these pawns. So, I don't know. I think black might just be busted here, to be honest with you. Yeah, look, king takes. It's so
King
many
takes,
pawns.
obviously.
Yeah.
Now we're starting mate, but now there might be some checks.
King f5.
Check, king e6.
King e6.
Maybe we should play king e6
Or
first and then
or
take.
maybe even, I don't know, like
Maybe we don't
like
give this check.
king f4 after rook d5 check, and then you go back to take my g6 pawn, and I take your a5 or c4 pawn, and that endgame should be pretty winning.
Yeah. Or there.
Yeah, I think it's just really tough.
Okay, this is the current position, but I think Durarbayli may be winning this game.
All right, so you wanted to check on Theodorou and Jacobson?
Antipov won against
Oh.
Corrales. That was an interesting. But yeah, let's stay on that game.
Okay. Well, a lot has changed.
Yeah, very much has changed in this game. That pawn became a d pawn. It used to be a c pawn. capture. That's how it happened. Of course, how else would it have happened? Magically appeared on the d file.
Yeah, if it weren't a capture, I want to call the arbiter.
Well, I've seen pieces just end up on other squares in blitz games, but obviously this is not a blitz game. Players have quite a lot of time left. I mean, sufficient that they can have time to make the right decisions. So let's see, king g6, king f7.
d7's interesting.
d7 is interesting. I think he was trying to avoid allowing king e6, because after that he can take. But here, if you go there, I think he wants to go here. Yeah. Now you can't go back because we promote, so you need to take with the king, because with the rook we would just trade and lose the king and pawn again, right? That's lost. And
then here rook g7, rook g5,
Yeah. And that pawn is going to be lost. There's very little chances for draw, so rook d5 was played. So now with white, if you want to progress, one way would be to go rook h8 or rook d8.
Oh. I just realized maybe black is in a lot of trouble.
Bring the king?
Yeah, because this is like a permanent thing. You can't play g6, because if you play g6, rook h8 wins. And, actually, rook h8 wins whenever... actually,
no, but if you bring the king closer, it will win.
Yeah. But wait, are you in time? So like king g1, and then black plays g6 right away, and then rook... you still do this, okay.
Yes, I bring my king.
And then king e7, rook h8. Or, you go rook g8
I think I should go rook g8 because I need to get something. If you take with the rook, though, at first I was going to trade, but I don't think I trade here. I think I just take your pawn first.
Yeah, rook g5 or rook h6 comes.
And if you go, you can do anything here to protect. You lose one of the pawns.
Yeah, this should be lost.
So you play king e6.
Rook
so
h8.
Well, he can't get the g pawn now, so he has to take the h.
Yeah,
he was kind of forced into it.
Intuitively, I would say that this endgame is drawn. So I think I was wrong earlier when I said that black was in like a lot of trouble. I mean,
well, he has to these pawns. If this was here, maybe it was easier. But I think this is hard to draw because I have various ways of improving this position. Although, if you're e4, if you don't get e4.
What if I just like wait? What is your winning plan, I guess?
I first need to understand if e4 is a good possibility for black or not.
Yeah, I don't really want to play e4 if you don't have to trade. I just want to sit on the position if I can.
You don't want to play e4, I see.
I mean, if I trade pawns, then I want to play
Well, I definitely need my rook to be improved. So I'll go here.
It's like rook a4 here.
Here.
And rook b4. Okay. King f5.
King f5. I'm going to cut you off.
Always cutting me off. Ridiculous. I don't know.
You do. You really need to play this at some point. You think, okay, now I might not. I don't know.
e4, I was afraid of rook a5 and f4.
But you go there.
And I felt like you were going to beat me here. And I was going to be sad. I will get that pawn back. Okay, so what do you want to do? I don't know, like rook b2 or something.
I don't know if, I think I should put my rook behind so that I can give you one more check. Maybe that was too much. Okay, I can always go back. I'll just go here.
Like rook c2. I just want to see if I can play the position with waiting.
I needed to. Are you going to play g6?
No, I'll play king f6.
Okay, great. Because I wanted to push, so I needed to know.
You needed to know what I was up to.
I needed to know, yeah, but
rook c3.
You can do that. So I'm going to go king g2, so I can play f4.
Okay.
And then
rook
my progress.
c2.
Okay.
Rook c3.
Check.
King f7. I don't know. It's definitely suffering, but I don't know if I should lose.
I'm going to play. I'm gonna play this for a while.
Oh, I agree. King f5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm not as afraid as I once was. I think, because e4.
No, that's the thing. I was hoping to do that because you can't.
Wait,
you still can't play.
I can't play e4.
I didn't think so, but now I realize you have
G6.
this move.
Yeah.
And what is going on exactly here?
Are you gonna checkmate me? Yeah, you're checkmating me here. Yeah. Yeah. So this is not possible. But after. Yeah. Okay, so I can't play. Wow, I can't play e4 after rook a8.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That black cannot play e4 because you have this idea.
So let's say I wait, like, rook b3, for instance.
So I do want to progress. The thing is, I can't have both my rook here to cover to bring my king to g4 and my rook behind to push you to g6.
Right.
That's the only problem as to why I was trying to decide whether I should push g5 or it might be too soon. It's like a huge thing there.
Yeah, I mean, I was always taught in these sorts of endgames that you usually don't, like, as the defensive side, you want to trade pawns when you can, and when you can't, you should just try to wait and make white figure out a way to make progress.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you kind of have to do that. That's your only choice here in this position.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of, I don't know, a lot of beginners, the way that they get in trouble in these like 3v2 endgames is with the defensive side, they just push their pawns up the board really fast, and then they get into trouble because they have all these weaknesses that they can't defend. And that's tough. But sometimes patience pays off. I don't know. What happened in the game, though? Because I guess...
yeah, maybe I shouldn't play g5. Maybe that was... I think I could play h5.
Yeah.
First, and then... I definitely need to get my 2 pawns there.
Yeah.
It's just the matter of how you get it.
Now you're threatening rook a6, king g5, and then rook g6 mate,
yeah.
which is nice.
So
I guess... So a funny line, a way that black could lose would be like king g5, rook a6, e4, rook g6. This would be a highly unfortunate way for the game to end.
Yeah, that would be sad. That would be sad. You can't play g6 and you can't play e4.
Maybe king f7.
So I was trying to
now
get...
g5.
Yeah, this is the thing. I was trying to get this,
wait,
I think I rushed.
King e6 instead? Oh, sorry. Instead of king f7, hold up. Maybe there's some... can be like slightly clever.
Like you can try to hold on, but I think I have 2 checks. Check first. Then I won't have the control over the 4th rank. Okay, let's see. So check.
Yeah.
Go there. I go g5. Now you need to cover this, right?
Oh, I was gonna play e4.
Oh, you wanna go e4? You can?
I hope so. I don't want to play the position if I can't play e4. Let's put it like that.
Okay, so let's see. I guess it works. It kind of does. Too bad. Too bad.
I could get mated by g6, king g8,
no,
rook a8.
You go king f8. That's an important move, actually. Check. Check.
King f8 back. Yeah.
Well, I was hoping you'd play that.
Wait, this is one of those fortress positions, right? King g8, king g8. If you stay on the f file, rook f3, and then takes as a draw, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is a fortress.
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried. It didn't work. But you have to push. I mean, definitely when you have this kind of position, you have to push. It looks like he's changing it a little bit. So he brought in the king to e3. So he's still getting that idea. Okay, so he still got my idea with the king there, but now. I don't know if you must have rushed it with it a little bit because now there's e4.
Well, it's white to play, so...
Yeah. I know, but how do you stop e4? You don't have a hiding spot. The way I did it, I was hiding, so there's never an e4 as an option.
Maybe he wants rook f5 and just like... it's hard to make a move here. But
is this winning the king and pawn? If we get the king and pawn endgame, do we win this? We should.
I think
winning
should
it. Yeah,
be
because
winning,
it's gonna
yeah.
be the pawn on 5th. We go there, that gets traded, and it's the pawn on the magical rank.
I think
So then this is fine. This is fine. Then we can go rook f8. He's gonna go here. He can't go e4, right? Because this check,
Yeah.
and he can he?
What? Wait, rook e4 or rook e8? I mean, why is this possible?
No, it's not. Okay, I
Oh,
panicked.
Okay.
I panicked. Okay, king e7.
Yeah. I don't know. Probably the game's just going to end in a draw. Is my assumption.
Yeah, we can't progress. I guess we could play here. We'll play here.
Yeah, e4.
Can I do this, or is that a draw?
Wait.
I know you
After-
can take with the pawn. I know you can take
Oh.
with the pawn.
Okay.
I.
This was your.
This
idea.
is my plan. Yeah. So you can, but I don't think it's good. I think this is seems pretty easy for white to win. No.
Okay, so if I go king e7 here and you go king g6 and I play rook h5, rook a4, my bad.
No.
Rook
awesome.
a4. And then g5 and I go rook h4. How do you, you go rook f7.
No, I just take.
Oh, yeah, you just take, okay. No, you just win, okay. Fair enough. So I have to take with my
You
rook.
have to take with the rook. Yeah, so takes, and now I'm trying to figure out if this game is winning or not. I don't think I've ever seen this particular one. Should be winning as well.
Yeah.
But let's see, is it really? Because
King f6,
you need to get the right kind of opposition. I don't think you're winning. Because like here, this is a draw.
Mm-hmm.
Can we win if we go from the other side? But how do we go? He's gonna get king g5. Okay, so he wins. He goes there. Go here. Here. This is a draw.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then it's gonna be a draw. We can put this thing
Yeah.
to
It's tough.
check. This is the position.
Yeah, it's definitely hard for white to make progress.
Okay, so we are not getting extra moves here. It's possible the players have agreed on a draw. We don't know, however, that has happened. Okay, as we're waiting on that, I just want to remind all of you guys that something new is starting in St. Louis. We're gonna have the American Cup. Hopefully we can pull the flyer for the competition. Oh, no, you guys are... It's a 2 double elimination tournament. 16 competitors, 10 days of chess. You guys can see it. I'm not going to read it from the screen. That would be too much. But it's going to be an amazing tournament. 8 players in the female section, 8 in the male section. All top players in the country. And there's going to be commentary by some very awesome people that I enjoy watching all the time myself. Those will be Grandmasters Christian Kirilla, Yasser Seirawan, the one and only, and International Master Jovanka Huska. So hopefully you guys will be around to watch that. It starts on Friday, right, at 1 p.m. So that's going to be really exciting.
Be sure to tune in on Twitch and YouTube for live commentary.
Of course, YouTube or Twitch, and of course you can check out the standings, pairings, and more information about the event on uschesschamps.com. .org?
Oh,
.com?
Oh,
I think it's
.com.
.com. I was
Yeah.
waiting on. All right, so it
Right.
seems we got a confirmation that the players agreed on a draw I think Theodorou kind of missed some chances here to play for a win with this idea. He kind of got his rook stuck there.
Yeah, these...
Let's take a look at the results, guys. Seems like we have them already, although not everything was updated on the site.
Okay, so a draw on the top 3 boards, which means that Christopher Yu and Nicholas Theodorou are still leading by half a point going into the 8th round.
But they were caught up by Raja Harshit, right?
Yeah.
Won his game. So we'll have 3 people tying for first for the last 2 rounds.
Yeah.
That's gonna be exciting. Lots of other draws. Durarbayli won finally that endgame that we showed earlier against Dennis Boros.
Yeah, that endgame looked really, really tough for Dennis.
It did. It seemed equal because the material was equal, but just because you see equal material, it doesn't mean it's going to end in a draw. That's a really good take away from this tournament, I guess. Costa's game was very nice. We were not told about any interview that was able to be taken by the players, unfortunately. So I think, I don't know, is there any other game we could go over that we didn't go over? Was there any question in the chat?
I think all the games happen to be done.
Well, what do you say? Shall we call it a day for today, Julian? It was kind of a short day for us, actually.
It was a short
unexpected day,
but mostly due to our extended break, I think.
Extended break a little bit, but I think no. With Doug, we're finishing usually close to 4. I think the games were taking a little bit longer, but as the tournament is approaching the end, I think some of the players maybe are getting a little bit tired and. Maybe more mistakes are happening, but don't forget to continue watching us here on Twitch and YouTube. We'll be back live tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. with Julian. Hopefully you'll be joining me again tomorrow morning for the final round of the Super Swiss.
For sure. Tune in next time to see us do commentary on the St. Louis Super Swiss.
Thank you, everyone. And don't forget about the American Cup starting on Friday. Bye for now.
Bye.
The St. Louis Chess Club's 2023 chess season launches in March for the 2nd annual American Cup. World-class chess masters will gather in the chess capital of America, St. Louis, Missouri, to compete in a double elimination tournament for a combined $300,000 in prizes. We will cover all the action live from the World Chess Hall of Fame from March 17th through March 26th. Tune in for the best game in chess streaming live. For more information, visit uschesschamps.com.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.